We'll do a little special this week here. We were gonna do some other stuff here with our top 10 tackles. So I'll save my top 10 for when I get back here with Judge here. Hopefully next week we'll get that out to you. The top 10 DN video from the full episode from last week that will be dropping here in the next day or so. It's been a little hectic life here in my personal life here. Obviously, filming here in my nursery. About to have a baby here, so we had a baby shower this weekend on Super Bowl Sunday because, why not? Little hectic there with that. So I'll get that out here in the next couple of days for the top 10 video. We'll do the top 10 tackles next week here as we're about 70 days here away from the draft. So it's coming up, and I'm excited to see some of the moving parts here. I think we're going to see a very busy, very, very busy NFL draft day. But what we're going to do here, speaking of draft, I'm going to do a little solo mock draft 1.0 here. I guess solo 1.0 draft here. Not going to do any trades here on this one. I'm going to get into some trade stuff here probably once free agency hits. Possibly next week. I want to do a 2-round mock draft here with Judge if we can get together. But with that being said here, let's get into it. Get it pulled up here. All right. So obviously with the number 1 overall pick, I don't see how there's any way possible that the Chicago Bears aren't taking Caleb Williams. I think it's been pretty consensus. I think there was a reasonable consideration there that they may look to trade that, and I still think it's possible. I think there's a chance that the Washington Commanders now with Cliff Kingsbury could definitely look to move up to take Caleb Williams. If the Bears go to 2, I think Marvin Harrison would be in play possibly, but I could still see them also going quarterback. I think Justin Fields is going to have a pretty decent trade market. The Falcons stand out to me as a potential suitor for Justin Fields. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin has apparently been very, very in on him. I could see a team like maybe one of the teams who don't get, so like the Vikings or the Broncos. I don't see the Broncos really being in the Justin Fields market, but maybe the Raiders potentially in that market. The Seahawks possibly could be an outside team for Justin Fields. I think there's definitely going to be a solid market for Justin. I think he's going to have a couple suitors there. I think you can probably get a second round pick there, maybe a couple mid round picks as well as sweeteners. I do think the Bears would consider trading down, but potentially still take a quarterback if they do. But in this one here, I'm going to say they stick at 1, take Caleb Williams. That would put the Washington Commanders up here on the clock. And I think there's a very real conversation you could have with Drake May. I do think Drake May is a better quarterback. But with Cliff Kingsbury being in Washington, I think they are going to look at a guy like Jaden Daniels a little bit more. Kingsbury does seem to like the more mobile guy, the Kyler Murray-esque guys. I think so. I think he would look more for a Jaden Daniels, more of a playmaker at that position at number 2. So I'm going to take Jaden Daniels to the Washington Commanders there. And that would bring us up to my New England Patriots here. And this is a tough one for me. The Patriots kind of seem like I don't have any idea what we're going to do. It does seem like there's a growing thought process that they may stick with Mac Jones. I don't know if I like the idea. I personally really, really would like Jaden Daniels. I really like that athletic guy to kind of really just bring a new vibe to New England. But with that being said, in this scenario, I think you would love to see Drake May fall here. But I'm going to say they give Mac Jones one more chance to kind of be the guy. And if he's not the guy, they'll be back in the market next year for maybe Quinn Ewers or Shador or somebody else here who might fall in love with. I'm going to say they go out and get their elite receiver and take a Maserati Marv. Take Marvin Harrison out of Ohio State here for the New England Patriots. And I think in this case scenario here, this is absolute worst case scenario for the Cardinals. If this is what happens, I fully expect the Cardinals to trade out of this spot. Somebody would be coming up for Drake May. Maybe this would be a spot I could see if Drake May's on the board at 4. I could definitely see Arizona. I'm sorry, Arizona trading this pick with like Atlanta, the Vikings, the Broncos. I think would definitely be very interested here if probably take a lot to go back to 12. Um, but I think Atlanta would make a lot of sense to move up here. I'm not going to take Drake May in this. I'm going to say they in this mock draft scenario they do stay put and take. I'm going to say I like Rome Odunze better. But I think the Cardinals would like Malik Neighbors better, so I definitely think they're going wide out here. The top 3 guys here are elite. So in my opinion, Malik Neighbors there to the Cardinals. At 5, I think there's a solid chance their 5 could be in play for a trade here as well, especially if Drake May's still on the board. I think they would be hard pressed to not trade back here. But again, not doing trades in this one, so I'm going to say Jim Harbaugh comes in. Jim Harbaugh loves to run 2 tight end sets. There's a generational guy from what everybody's considering there at Brock Bowers. I'm going to say Brock Bowers is the guy here. My only concern now with Brock Bowers is there was a photo released here this week, him standing next to Rob Gronkowski. And man, either Gronk's a monster or Brock Bowers isn't as big as we think he is because Brock Bowers looked a lot smaller than Gronk. But I still like Brock. I still think he's an absolute elite tight end prospect here. So we'll go Jim Harbaugh taking Brock Bowers there at 5. 6 here in this case here. The Giants sitting at 6. Obviously, you got Daniel Jones there. You paid him a bunch of money. Do they go back to the ACC and take another quarterback in Drake May? I'm going to say it's going to be too much for them to pass up here. I do think Joe Alt's probably where they go in real life here because I don't think May makes it here. But in this scenario, we'll take Drake May to the Giants at number 6. Number 7 here, the Tennessee Titans are on the board here. I don't think there's even a consideration. They're taking Joe Alt there. They're not much to say there. Joe Alt's the best tackle in this class, in my opinion. Obviously, we'll get into how we rank our tackles next week. Spoiler: Joe Alt's the number 1 tackle for me. I think he's the number 1 tackle for most people here, and he's definitely been a high-ranking commodity now in that class here. Now 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons up here. I still think there is a very real possibility that this is Dallas Turner. I've mocked this a couple times with them taking Dallas Turner, and I just don't see how they can pass on him at this point. I think that you can make an argument here. It's either Dallas Turner or Jared First. I think they're going D-end, or they're going edge rusher here, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be whichever one they like better. I like the physical presence of Dallas Turner a little bit more than Jared Verse. So 8 overall here. We'll take Dallas Turner to Atlanta Falcons. Number 9 here. This is dream scenario for the Bears. The Bears fans, in our back and forth mock draft, hated me taking Cooper DeJean. So I guess we'll leave Cooper DeJean off. We'll leave Cooper DeJean on the board here. I'm going to give them Rome Odunze. I think if you get Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, add that with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet on that offense, you really got something at that point there with the Chicago Bears offense there. It really would be a vastly different offense than it was last year. So I do really like that upgrade there. Obviously, get some new coordinators in there. So Shane Waldron coming in there, used to run, coming from that Seattle system. So I think he's used to using 2 big stretch to field guys. Rome's a guy who can run. He's big, tall, fast, physical, everything you want in a receiver. I think he's a hell of a lot closer to Marvin Harrison territory than Malik Neighbors is. But the end of some NFL guys like Neighbors better. I think it's just which flavor you like better. Me, I would take Rome over Neighbors, but in this case, we'll take Rome there to number 9 to the Chicago Bears. At 10, the New York Jets here on the clock. They are definitely going tackle, and it's just who do they like here? Do they like Fasciano or Fuaga. I think in this case scenario, they would take Fasciano here. So I'm just going to mock that there. Number 10, Olu Fasciano out of Penn State there to the New York Jets. It's a massive need for him. Obviously, they missed out on a tackle in last year's class. They got to find a way to protect Aaron Rodgers coming back off an injury there. So I'm going to say Fasciano there to the Jets. At number 11 here, the Minnesota Vikings. They're in an interesting situation. It's for me, it's going to depend a ton on what they do at quarterback. If they look into a trade, for Justin Fields or maybe Russell Wilson or somebody, one of the veterans on the market, or do they bring Kirk back? I don't think they officially said they're not going to bring Kirk back. I don't think financially they are going to be able to bring Kirk back. So I do think they're going to be looking for a cheaper option there. So I really do think quarterback is in play, either Penix or Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy maybe potentially there. I still think that's a little rich for my blood at 11 for any of them. I do think Penix is a really good fit for Minnesota. I think if they go quarterback for me, it will be Michael Penix. But in this case scenario, I'm going to say Jared Verse is going to be too much to overcome there. They have some aging guys there. Danielle Hunter is getting older there. I believe his contract's up at the end of the year as well. So and Jared Verse is the next guy at edge there. He's a very, very good 5-tech edge rusher there. So I'm going to say Jared Verse to the Minnesota Vikings. And then this we'll bring up the old Denver Broncos here. I do think there's a lot in play here. Russ, I think he has to be gone, but they haven't said a ton on him in the last little bit. I think he's going to be tough to get rid of. I really do, but I do think they are in quarterback mode fully here at number 12. I think Bo Nix makes the most sense for me for the Denver Broncos here. I've been on that train for a while. I'm not going to get off of it. Bo Nix to the Denver Broncos there. I feel like he fits the Sean Payton system very, very well. And that's where the way they go there. Now we've got 13. We got the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock. Also potentially quarterback here. Don't know if that's the way they go. Obviously, there's some good guys here. Cooper Jean's still on the board. Jerzar Newton's on the board. They could go tackle. Bunch of corners that can really play. The Lautau's out there. Quentin Mitchell, my number one corner. He's still on the board. They have a lot of needs over there. I think they want to try to get Max Crosby some help. Jerzon Newton really, really seems like he's a good fit for me. Byron Murphy, I think, could even potentially be in this talk here. I think he could really benefit from a big combine, and I think he's going to have a big combine. But Jerzon Newton feels very Raider-like to me, so I'm gonna give him to the Raiders here at 13. The Saints, I don't think, are in the quarterback market. They are fully expected to essentially commit to Derek Carr for the next 2 years with a contract restructuring. I do think they need some offensive line help. So it's kind of be, which do you like here, to Fuaga or J.C. Latham? I really like Fuaga. He's really flying up some boards here. I think there is a very real possibility that he is the number 2 tackle taken. I don't think there's any chance he jumps Joe Alt, although I have seen a mock, I cannot remember the name on it, who does have him as the number one tackle taken in the top 6. I want to say he went 6 to the Giants, I believe that was. I'll have to look back and see who that actually was. J.C. Latham is a bigger body guy. Fuaga's a big dude too, so they're both very big players. Latham played on the right hand side most of his life. Might kick into guard at some point. Fuaga there, very similar prospects on him. To me, I'm gonna take Fuaga here to the Titans, get them a bookend tackle there. Try to really commit to the Derek Carr experiment there. And then Number 15 here, the Indianapolis Colts on the clock. They are probably in the cornerback market here. Um, and it's a great one to be in. There's some really good corners still on the board here. Obviously, none of them went, so they're all still on the board here. 15, that's if you can get one of these corners here at 15, which I think there's going to be quite a few of them available. This is the deepest cornerback class I've seen in a long time, which I think honestly hurts their class. Uh, Chris Ballard does a really good job of drafting here. I don't think he'll whiff on this pick. I don't see a receiver in play here. I don't know if they're really even in the receiver market. I think they like the guys they have. Obviously, Michael Pittman is a free agent. I don't see him getting out of Indianapolis. I don't see there's any way in hell he gets out of there. They like Josh Downs. And the receiver core is not as thin as it once was. They've done a pretty good job of drafting there. And with obviously Pittman and Downs and those guys. They could be in the veteran market as well. I would not be shocked by Mike Evans or Stephon Diggs is probably going to be in the trade market. I'm hearing some Justin Jefferson talk that he might get moved. He's going to want a bunch of money, and depending on where that franchise sees himself as, we'll see what happens there. What's going to happen with that? But here at 15, I'm going to say the Colts addressed a need for me here. They were very young in the secondary last year. I'm going to say they take best available here, and it's Cooper DeJean. He fits the Indianapolis way. He's a freak athlete, can run, cover, inside, outside, could play safety, gives you a lot of versatility in the back there. I really think Shane Steichen can find a way to use him very well, and I think he's going to interview very well, and I think Steichen's going to love him. So Cooper DeJean there, number 15 to the Indianapolis Colts. Number 16, the other team that really hated mock draft 1.0 for us. We had them taking a corner here. Learned they hate all the corners in this draft, apparently. So at 16, I still think there's a corner potentially in play here. J.C. Latham, I think, is definitely in play here. I do think they need more interior than exterior on the line. Leitao will be in play here. Jackson Powers Johnson, I think, is definitely in play here. That could be an interesting pick. I could see quarterback being in play here, which is where I think they're going to end up going here. I'm going to go Michael Penix Jr. I'll keep him in Washington. Seemed like a match made in heaven there. Keep him up there in the Northwest. That'll bring us here to number 17, the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of question marks on this team. Obviously, Josh Allen's going to want a ton of money to come back. I do think he comes back. So I think they are probably okay on the edge, if he comes back. I could see line go Jackson Powers Johnson. This is another team that I could see potentially be in the Jackson Powers Johnson market. They could be in cornerback markets. So Wiggins, Terrion Arnold, Quentin Mitchell, all in play here for me. I think they're going to go back to that Clemson well with Nate Wiggins. Bring him back there. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence coming from Clemson, Travis Etienne coming from Clemson. A lot of Clemson guys on that roster as it is. I think they add another one here in Nate Wiggins. And that'll bring the Cincinnati Bengals up here at 18. I definitely think they are in offensive line mode. There is some question marks on who comes back there. Maybe some cap casualties on that line as well. Jonah Williams could potentially not be back. So I think J.C. Latham, they're all over J.C. Latham here at 18. I don't think they hesitate turning that card in. 19 to the LA Rams. LA Rams are a tough one. You kind of got to what do the Rams see themselves as? They see themselves as still a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Coming into this year, a lot of people were very, very low on the Rams, thinking they were going to have a very, very bad year. They have some big name guys with Stafford and Kupp and Aaron Donald. But beyond that, there was a lot of question marks on this roster. A lot of young players playing big time minutes there. Obviously, Stafford has talked in the very recent past about potentially hanging them up. So do they look to to the future for our quarterback here, or do they try to go after it in the last couple of years of his career? I do think this is a very interesting position for them. Lietau would definitely be in play here for me. Terrion Arnold, Quentin Mitchell definitely in play for me. Amarius Mims potentially in play. Don't know. Don't know if I see him going that way. I think they look to add their next, Jalen Ramsey kind of deal. Obviously, traded him away, so I think they're going to look for a very very good corner and take Terrion Arnold here out of Alabama. Click the right button. There we go. That'll take us number 20 here. The Pittsburgh Steelers. They need some offensive line help still. Interior mainly, linebacker. I think they could definitely be in the cornerback class again. Obviously, taking Joey Porter last year, very very fundamental guy. Very obviously has some bloodlines there with his dad playing there. I think that Jackson Powers Johnson for me is definitely in play here. I think he's going to shoot up boards. Definitely an option here that I'm kind of leaning towards Jackson Powers Johnson, or going back to the cornerback room to address that the secondary there. The defense was very subpar this year. Obviously, you have some elite pass rushers in T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith and Casey Hayward, and there's some pieces in the front seven that really could go nicely. You have Fitzpatrick at safety and Joey Porter, really like him in secondary there, but they do need a couple more pieces. I think they go to the Alabama well here and take Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama there to really round off that D back room at 20. At 21 here for the Miami Dolphins. Interesting spot for them. I'll be honest, I don't know the Dolphins roster off the top of my head. Super strong. I know they have a ton of receiver to have. Pretty solid in the secondary there. They have some younger pass rush guys. Bradley Chubb obviously getting hurt there. There wasn't a whole lot of depth in the pass rush behind him. I think the offensive line could possibly use some help. So I think Jackson Powers Johnson and Amarius Mims are in play here for the Dolphins. It's kind of, do you want to go an inside or an outside guy? Mims plays on the right side. He's right tackle here. I think they'll look for Amarius Mims here. I think. All right, yeah, we'll go with Amarius Mims here to the Dolphins. The Eagles up here, I don't think anybody expected to be picking at 22. Early in the year here, they definitely have some holes in that roster there. I think this falls perfectly for them, and it'd be a potential another draft day steal here. I'm not even going to think twice about this one. Quinyon Mitchell to the Eagles. I feel like he embodies that mindset they have down there, and he'll fit well there. And that hurts to me because I really like Quinyon Mitchell, and I really don't like the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's a tough one for me just to see that fall out. But that's a very very good fit. That's one of probably the best fits out there, I think. That'll take us here at 23 with the Houston Texans. I think they like the receivers they had last year with Tank Dell having a solid year. Obviously, Nico Collins is a freaking monster. I think they may be in the vet market there for a third option. Although they have some depth there. John Mechie's still there, trying to figure out what he's going to be in the league. Obviously, coming back from the medical issues. Defense, obviously, you have a defensive-minded coach there. I think we're looking to bolster that defense. Obviously, you took Will Anderson last year, and he wins Rookie of the Year. He had C.J. Stroud in the offense, who wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. So they know what they're doing in the draft here. I don't think they overthink this one. I'm going to go Lietau Latu to help bolster that front seven. D'Amico Ryans there loves he played defense. He was a defensive player, so I think he loves that, and he rolls building that front seven there and getting that pass rush right. 24 hit the Dallas Cowboys up. Interesting season for them. Obviously, playing kind of for Mike McCarthy's season this year, so we'll see if it matters, means anything different. The defense has some spots on it. Obviously, had some injuries last year. Deron Bland had a great year. They lost Trayvon Diggs, so he'll be back this year. Offensive line was very good. Some question marks on all of them are going to be back. I think Jackson Powers Johnson is definitely the way they go here. I'm not going to overthink that with Jackson Powers Johnson's going in the first round. 24 might be honestly too low for him. He had a monster day, monster week of the Senior Bowl, and he's firmly in the top 32 in this class. I think there's a solid argument that he could go, 20 is going to be a really strong look. I think 16 will be a strong look. 17 to the Jags, Seahawks are potentially in that market. I think there's definitely some strong consideration toward him being higher on this board than where he ends up going here. At 25 here for the Green Bay Packers there. Really overachieved in my opinion there, kind of a year or two ahead and from what I've seen or from what I was expecting out of here. I do think Byron Murphy is very, very much in play here. I think offensive line's very, very much in play here. I don't see really on the offensive side. I think they're all right there, especially in the first round. I'm going to say they go Taylor Guyton with the upside there, a guy who is probably the most athletic tackle in this class. Had a really good Senior Bowl as well, kind of moving up draft boards there. I think he's definitely in the first round for me. I would be really, really shocked if Tyler Guyton does not go in the first round of this draft class. So I'm going to go Taylor Guyton there to the Green Bay Packers. Moving on, number 26 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, got to make a commitment here to Baker, in my opinion. I think that's where their offseason start is getting Baker Mayfield locked up. I do think Mike Evans has a very strong possibility to not be back. I don't know if that would be the end of the world as far as that goes. The receivers there kind of disappointing this year. I mean, obviously Evans is good. Chris Godwin didn't seem to be quite the player he was last year. They have a bunch of needs. The defense needs some work. Edge rusher, linebacker, corner all seem to be in play here. Offensive line potentially in play here. A guy like Jordan Morgan would be in play. Byron Murphy probably not in play here with Vita Vea and all them on that. The D line's solid. Need somebody on the edge. Receiver could be in play. I would not be surprised by like a Brian Thomas here or I like Lab McConkey, but I don't see it. Keon Coleman potentially here. Didn't have the best Senior Bowl, so he kind of hurt his stock in my opinion there. This was a tough one. Not really sure where I see them going. Rackshaw would probably make some sense here. Braylon Trice would probably make some sense here. Chris Braswell didn't have the best Senior Bowl for me. Probably played himself out of the first round. Troy Fatnow, guy who can play tackle, guard, would probably really be in play there. Darius Robinson's really flying up boards. Wouldn't be so shocked to see him go back in the first round here, so not out of the realm of possibility here. Chop Robinson, I think, would probably be in play here. I think Chop Robinson makes a lot of sense here for me. I'm kind of going back and forth between that and Fat now, but we'll take the physical freak here, Chop Robinson, and to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 27 here. The Arizona Cardinals back on the clock here for their second pick at 27. Obviously at number 4, the board did not fall quite how they wanted to with losing out on Maserati Marv, and they have to settle for Malik Neighbors there. Not really settling. Malik Neighbors is a hell of a player. We're back up here for their second round pick. Their second first round pick here. I think offensive line's definitely in play. Corners definitely in play. Rackshaw, Kamari Lassiter, I have a hard time putting in the first, just on physical. Very, very smart player. Got a lot out of his board, out of his body. Potentially somebody going down the board here. Christian Haynes may make an appearance here. towards the back of the first round in real life. He had a great Senior Bowl. I think they're out of the receiver market now with taking Neighbors. I don't think they're taking both the LSU guys. Braylon Trice, I think's possibly in play here. But I'm going to say they go to bolster that defensive line. No, I'm going to say they go Troy Vatno. No, they're going to go. I can play tackle, can play guard. Could be a swing tackle for you if you need to. Troy Vatno. I'm going that. That makes sense. Receiver. Moving on here to 28 for the Buffalo Bills, I think there's no way in hell they're not going receiver in the first round. And it's just, what do you want? Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey had a really good Senior Bowl. Keon Coleman, the big jump ball guy, is here. But I think they're going to go Brian Thomas. I think that makes some sense. Is Stephon Diggs back? Is Gabe Davis back? They got some question marks on the receiver. They're definitely going receiver here in the first. Probably not the first, not the last time they look at receiver in this class. 29 here, the Detroit Lions have some needs on the offensive line there. It was banged up towards the end of the year. Heard some rumblings that Ragnow may consider stepping a way, which would shock me. So we'll see. Offensive line could be in play here. Jordan Morgan's a guy who could potentially bump into guard. Byron Murphy would be somebody I would consider here to help out there. But that secondary was so bad outside of Brian Branch this year that I think they have to. It's TJ Tampa here makes some sense. I don't like Kamari Lassiter in the first round. I think if you can get him early, day 2, I like it better there. Just the value to athlete proposition there for me is just not there. Rackshaw's a solid guy. I do like Rackshaw here. So I do think that Rackshaw will be the guy for the Lions here as they continue to bolster that secondary. I like that actually. Moving on here to pick number 30, the Baltimore Ravens. Got some question marks on receiver on who comes back. Obviously you find a guy with Zay Flowers who's a dog. Corners could be in play here. Braylon Trice on the edge could be in play here, but I don't think there's any chance they take anybody but Byron Murphy in this scenario. Really build that defensive line back up with Justin Matabuke probably leaving in free agency. He's going to want a bunch of money. He's going to get a bunch of money, so I can see that definitely being the route. The Super Bowl runner-ups here. The San Francisco 49ers on the clock. They pretty decent roster coming back next year. Kind of be what they determined that is their biggest need. I think they could look to bolster the offensive line. Trent Williams getting a little older. I think a guy like Jordan Morgan's definitely in play here. Depending on what they do with edge rusher, I think a guy like Darius Robinson's in play. Chris Braswell, possibly. Jonah Ellis would make some sense here. If I don't think Chase Young. I don't think Chase Young's back next year. Zach Frazier would make some sense for interior lineman. Graham Barton, a guy who could play. I think he's guard in the league. Guard potentially. I think he's actually probably play center. I think center is probably his best NFL listed position. I think there. Graham Barton definitely played center at the Senior Bowl. Played it pretty well. Corner could potentially be in play. There's not one that I'm in love with at the back of the first round here. In all honesty, I really, truly think if this is how the board would fall, there's no way in hell the 49ers take this pick. They would trade this pick out for somebody coming back up for a quarterback, maybe J.J. McCarthy or J.J. McCarthy's probably the only first-round potential quarterback there. But this scenario here, let's get back to it. I'm going to say they go Jordan Morgan. They start to bolster that offensive line, start to plan for the future there. It's a guy who could play guard, I think, in the league. I think he probably does play guard in the league, but can play tackle for you. So you bring him in, give him a some time to learn the offense and really grow that way here. And then the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champs here, back up. I still think they are going receiver. They have Rashee Rice. They really like him. Um, it's just which receiver do you want? Do you want your deep ball jump ball guy with Keon Coleman, which they don't really have? Vlad McConaughey was a freaking monster at the Senior Bowl. Nobody could cover him early in that. A.D. Mitchell is a guy that I wouldn't be shocked to see in the first round with his long speed. Devontae Walker, he's definitely not going in the first round. He had a pretty piss poor Senior Bowl, in my opinion. Had some drop issues there. There's no way in hell the Chiefs are looking for a receiver with drop issues there. Xavier Legette, I really like Xavier Legette. I'm a little lower on him now. He did measure 2 inches shorter than what I anticipated him to measure at. Him only being 6'1" instead of 6'3" is a big difference there. But he is a physical freak. This would be a scenario too that potentially this pick could be in play if somebody wanted to come up if the Niners didn't trade out in this scenario. Ricky Parasol had a really good senior day. Xavier Worley I really like. Edgerrin Cooper I do like. Devondre Sweats here. The linebackers are still there. I think they want to go get a big jump ball red zone target outside of Travis Kelce. Obviously, Kelsey's getting a little older here. So I'm going to go Keon Coleman. I'm going to still go Keon Coleman to the Kansas City Chiefs. But that'll wrap up our final round here. I do think there is a very real possibility of this draft there. I don't think Drake May gets the 6. I do think the number 4 would, the Cardinals would trade that pick and somebody would come up and take him there. I don't see any way that Drake May gets out of the top 4. Some names that I would like to see try to get in this first round, and it's just hard to find spots for him. There's a lot of good players going to be available here early day 2. I do think there's another quarterback that goes in the first round. I full heartedly expect 5 to 6. I think there's 5 going in the first round for sure. I think there's a very real possibility that 6 go. I feel like a very real possibility that there's 8 offensive linemen go in the first round. I'm not sure how many I did have in this one here. Let me look real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9. I have 9, 8 tackles and a center in the first round, which I think honestly is very, very realistic. It's a very deep tackle class. It's a very high need position value here. When you have two interior D linemen going, a couple edge guys going. Here was it? 1, 2, 3. I only got 3 edge rushers going there, which I think there's probably 4 that are first round grade guys. Depending how you feel on Chop Robinson. Chop Robinson's the tough one. The Penn State guys, in my opinion, this year are really tough to figure out what they're going to be with. Fashionow maybe falling down on some boards when we're hearing Chop Robinson being just an absolute physical freak, but just not having the production grade to really make you feel comfortable with taking him. You definitely he's a boomer bust guy. But yeah, it's going to be exciting draft this year. Really looking forward to it. So we're about 70 days away. The combine coming up here, this month. It's 2 weeks away, I believe. So it's going to be a busy time. I'm excited for you here. Hopefully we'll have our top 10 tackles out to you. We'll shoot that video next week. We'll get your top edge rusher standalone video. We'll get that out this weekend here for you. But that'll wrap up this week's episode here. Super Bowl recap. A little solo mock draft here. Might do a little bit more solo mock drafts here, as well as the back and forth with Judge. Hopefully, maybe get the tackles in a 2-rounder out next week. I'd really like to get a 2-round mock out here in the next week or 2 at the worst. But all right, guys, I appreciate it. If you have obviously hop in the comment section, tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me how bad this mock draft sucks. What you want to see us do next. We really appreciate it. If you can, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, talk some shit. Get on the Facebook page. All right, guys, we appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.